Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Grubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists.
It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Canine Detection Collaborative podcast. I'm Robin Grubel. I'm here with Stacy Barnett.
Hello.
And Crystal Wing.
Howdy.
And we are going to do a reflections episode, only it's a little bit different because all three of us spent the last 3.5 days at Muscatatuck Urban Training Center, MUTC, in Indiana at a cadaver dog seminar with 60 handlers, 6 instructors, 7 assistants, 2 helpers, and Crystal running around on her bike, taking pictures of everybody and teaching play and engagement. We had Stacy and Cadaver there to basically help out, and they got to run some cool stuff with their dogs. And so we just wanted to kind of sit back and look at, since all three of us were in the same location and had definitely 3 different perspectives on takeaways, reflections, aha moments, all those sorts of things. So it should be kind of fun because we were all in so different locations on this fantastic training site.
The site was amazing. I personally have never seen really anything quite like it. You know, you almost have to experience it to kind of appreciate it. You know, you go on site and there's different areas of the site is just transformed into different worlds. Like it's kind of, kind of like when you go to Disney World, right? And you go to Disney World and there are these little areas in Disney World that, you know, you go and as you're on like Fantasyland and then you go and then you're in, Future World or whatever. I haven't been there in ages. So this is, using my memory, which is maybe not so great. But you go there and you're kind of immersed into it. And it's totally like, that is kind of, what you're experiencing. And the cool part about that, not to compare it to Disney World, I mean, it's totally different, right? I mean, it's owned by the Department of Defense for crying out loud, right? So,
right. Well, and we often, as a search dog handler and trainer, a lot of us in the FEMA system actually refer to it as dog training Disneyland.
Okay, well, there you go. Right. So you have like, hospital world, you have, rubble world, you have,
collapsed car structure world. You've got
the Sunken Village world.
Yes. So it's kind of like, and the nice thing about it for, organizational things, because, right. I have 60 handlers. I'm scheduling stuff for 85 people. Right.
Yeah.
And it can all be contained on one site. The barracks are there. They're a little on the, depending on when you go, it's your air conditioning or heating, a very large building that's made out of cinder blocks.
Well, we had a heat wave that nobody was really kind of set for.
Right. No.
Yeah. So, if this had been kind of a normal May,
it'd be fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was fascinating talking to my kids at school today about it. And, I was explaining to them what it was. And I looked up some information on it, and it's 1,000 acres. So this isn't, some small chump area. That's a very large area. And when we were there too, they had all of the military actions going on. And so there's the rounds that we're hearing in the background and people walking around with, weapons as we're going around with our dogs doing search and rescue. So that was also something.
Don't go over to the prison area because there's a prison.
And if you find an electronic device, don't pick it up because you'll become part of the
scenario.
I think there was a hostage at the prison, right?
There for sure was. There was one at the housing next to us at the Sunken Village too. And so they started yelling, come out with your hands up. And everybody turns and we're like, right. End up in the scenario somehow.
Right. Because it's active. Right. And, we have to go through because we're on a military facility. You've got to go through daily briefings. There's a specific chain of command. I mean, Jen Hirakawa, who we're going to be interviewing sometime in the next couple of weeks, is running around with 2 radios on her belt. I've got my radio and my cell phone. And I'm like, no, you're confined to this area and you can't move in case somebody from the base needs to find you. And accountability is huge, right?
Oh yeah.
Don't lose anybody.
Don't lose anybody. Yeah.
And don't get lost and don't go in the wrong place.
And don't speed.
Don't speed.
One of the groups, they were dying laughing. I roll up on my bike and I'm like, what's so funny? And she goes, there's a pair of glasses in the tree. Do we take them? Do we leave them? What do we do? And then she reaches up for the pair and then she goes, did you hear that? And we did. You could hear the click of the camera. And so we're looking around like you could hear it. We're trying to figure out. So everybody's like, okay, if somebody would have left those, they would have come back for them. So don't touch them.
Wow. Well, we did a search in the Kayla and I we set up a search in the bus depot because they have a bus depot and then they have these 2 buses that like that were open and everything. You go into the bus depot, there was a computer sitting there like on.
That's weird.
Like, okay, we won't put a hide on it, right? So we kind of worked around it, and that was kind of interesting.
Some of the stuff I shared with the kids, it has over 120 training structures, over 1 mile of searchable tunnels. If you guys notice the clock tower, they use that for rappelling, and all 4 clock phases are set to 9/11. It was built in 1919, and they've started using it for this purpose as the Urban Training Center from 2005 until now. And it was formerly known as the Muscatatuck State Developmental Center, and it was created in 1920 as the Indiana Farm Colony for the feeble-minded. And so when you start thinking about its history as one of the largest mental institutions, there were 3,000 patients, around 2,000 employees, and it had most of Indiana's challenged citizens. And it was the largest employer in that entire county. So they passed a law finally in 1997 that reorganized the state's health plans, for goodness sakes. Yeah, finally.
Exactly.
And so more modern methods, mental illness treatment. And so the patient population shrank down. And in 2001, they said, no more. Muscatatuck is done. And walking through the hospital, I know we all really felt that. We really felt the history of it. And it just felt like something just stuck in time. The old paint peeling off the walls and some of those devices in the rooms, just like, I don't want to know how they used that and how people were treated. And
well, and it is very fascinating because, one of the things that we were told in the briefing is things on the site are purposely broke the way that they are supposed to be. So don't purposely break anything, right? And it is such a privilege. I mean, we're talking fully furnished buildings.
Yes.
And, they're creepy.
Well, they're that hospital's haunted. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But,
well, of course, we're there when the sirens are going off and the tornadoes are touching down, like 30 miles away north or whatever. Yeah. And then the storm hits and we're all inside and the power goes off while we're in this hospital. And then all of a sudden we hear this squawking that starts happening downstairs.
Which I think was the bird that lived there. But yeah, it's for those of us who train dogs, we really truly appreciate those locations that allow us to come in and train dogs because they're really fascinating locations are actually hard to find.
Right.
And so, and not every day do you get a search with a camera right next door. So, and a goat that was loose. We also informed base that they had a loose goat. But the whole process of trying to set up the tone, right? Because the tone of the training and, I try and really foster a safe learning environment for students. We started out with our daily briefing on the first day and I've set my expectations. You guys, this is the expectation. There's nothing snarky because everything can be a learning opportunity. And I was lucky enough to get, in my opinion anyway, some of the best, most experienced trainers that not only can train dogs, but they can talk to people.
They are legit.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
Legit, like seriously legit. And some of the older setups and puzzles that I saw were pretty cool. They were cool. And the setups all seemed to be very constructed in a way that the teams would be successful, but pushed.
Yes.
Which is really goes to that art that we've talked about in terms of the hide setting, right? It's
Correct.
that you want to push, but you want to be successful. So you have to kind of be able to give the dog kind of those puzzle pieces in the way that you set the hide so that they can be successful and the handler can go, wow, look at what you just did.
And we're working with everything from beginner dogs and beginner handlers all the way up to certified operational, doing it for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. And you had both forensic level type setups and you had rubble type setups with larger source.
Right.
Not to mention you had large source and you had small source. Look at me. I sound like a human remains handler here talking about this because I was so immersed in it. And, I have absolutely, I've never actually seen source. So that's, and I'm kind of okay with that.
When you talk about the forensic level, that was the blood splatter on a piece of drywall that had then been painted over. So, when you're talking forensic level, that's what we're talking is just
right.
Or,
yes,
or a single blood drop on a light switch.
Right.
Or a blood.
I liked the single blood drop on the linoleum tile that had then been flaked off and then dusted off. Right. And then the tile was brought into that place and put under a box and the dogs were indicating on that. That was pretty cool to see.
Wow.
I don't
Nico did that, by the way.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did that. I just saw your face. You're like, I didn't know we had that. Well, yeah, Nico did that. So
I remember the linoleum tiles, but I don't. I'm just like, wow.
Well, I remember I saw that search of yours. I'm around the corner and I'm watching and I'm just like in awe. Like this is just amazing handling. And I just hear Robin say, "Do you want me to say which tile?" And he goes, that would be great. It was just
that did happen.
Yeah. Okay. Nico says it's the middle one.
Yeah. It was just, that was really cool for me to see.
And with the hide setting, what you just said too, I don't want to forget, but I really liked your inclusivity thing too, where you took the dogs in mind and the handlers in mind because it was beginner all the way to advanced. And so there's a dog that's in season. And for anyone that doesn't know, for other intact males, that can be quite the challenge, especially for beginners. And so setting up problems for that female dog off in another area, and then allowing the handlers to be able to use that as another problem without having, the full distractions of her in that area. So that was also something that I was really like, kudos to you guys for being aware of those things and then using it for a new problem. And so other handlers were bringing their dogs over to go, okay, not only do I want to work this, but I need the coaching to know how to work this.
Right. Well, and it's really important because, we had handlers from Florida to Alaska, all over. It was crazy. And you don't know when you set up something like that, you get these people for 3 days.
Yeah.
And in order to make sure they're getting their money worth, you also need to make sure that they're going to go home with a skill sets or new skills so that they can take those back to their other teammates, because it's really, really hard. Search and rescue teams are we're like nosework people. We don't have master trainers running around, helping a volunteer search and rescue team. So you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things that you keep in mind, and why picking your instructors, at least from an organizational standpoint, is really important for me to have those instructors that will be able to, actually, I had a student, it was so nice. She was talking to me. She's like, Robin, this is a training that as I'm working through a problem and my dog is doing something, I can have a trainer that's there, instructor, say, well, this is why I think your dog is doing that. This is how I would solve it. And this is why. And they could give the reasoning behind solving it in the particular, or setting it up to walk them through the training plan to get to solving the problem. And she goes, and nobody just told me a method.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there was a lot of problem solving there. The other thing that was just really fantastic about the instructors that you chose was not only could they instruct people and the dogs, and they have the understanding, the deep understanding of how to train a dog so that you can problem solve, right?
Right.
They also really understood odor.
Yes.
So when you start to think about all these pieces that have to go into a good instructor, right? It's actually a very heavy skill set.
It is.
It's a super heavy skill set especially for searching.
Well, and even for what you guys do, you guys are working with difficult dogs. Some of them can be very difficult dogs.
Yeah.
We tend to work with dogs that are easily motivated because we're pre-selecting for that, right? Because we're pre-selecting for working dogs.
Some of your dogs, right? But just to kind
not all of them.
Not all of them.
No.
So not to interrupt your train of thought, which I totally want to finish that thought. But after we're done with that, I want to make sure that we talk about the motivation part of it, because that was like a key component of it was an unexpected component of something that Crystal brought to the whole weekend.
And so I think people, when you start thinking about dog training, there's the science part and then there's the craft part. Yeah. And that's just training a dog. That's not the communication part that has to happen when you're coaching humans.
Yeah.
So finding someone who can train dogs and then successfully coach humans that they've met and have talked to for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is really hard.
It's hard. And then when you talk about training the dogs, it's not just a behavior.
No.
This is where when we take this activity, the activity of searching, and I'm going to kind of glom together kind of the professional and the sport together.
It's detection work.
Detection work. Detection work is so much more, I hate to say this to folks who do other activities and sports and stuff. Your other activities and sports are focused on behaviors. Yes, there are behaviors here, but there's also this necessary understanding of the gas laws. Okay. So you're bringing in all the science of your environment to the point where you have to understand what is odor going to do based upon the type of odor that you're using, right? Based upon the weather, based upon the temperature. Do you have wind? Do you have an overhang? Do you have corners? Which way is a wind coming with, compared to vertical surfaces? All of the barometric pressure. I mean, basically it's kind of unending, right? You have to take that plus the ability to teach behaviors and understand the dog. And you have to layer on how to work with people.
Right.
And you had that with these folks there, which was amazing.
Yeah. And the added benefit actually for the instructors on doing an event like we just did is because the parameters, because being the hosting agency, I'm like, okay, I have a few parameters that you guys have to work within because I have students asking questions. And the instructors kind of universally decided we're checking out. We actually had a whole checkout system for all of our odors. They were issued at 6:30 in the morning, and at 6:30 at night, they were logged back in.
That's great.
Into a locked room in a locked freezer, the whole thing. The odor sat in the same place for 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so by the end of day 3, the instructors got to watch how odor changed from morning when they placed it to when they picked it up. And they ran 20 dogs all day long on that particular odor.
And then how it would change day to day.
And then how it would change day to day based on temperature and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So that was a really fascinating, and even the sunken village with how odor was presenting out of the houses in the sunken village, they had to set they were doing a smoke pen.
Yeah.
To try and figure it out, because after 3 dogs where they weren't alerting in the same spot that the dogs had the day before, they're like, there's a problem with how the hide is presenting.
Yeah, actually, Jen came over because I was on my bike doing the little anti-M from place to place.
It's easier.
Yeah.
And you don't go over 10 miles an hour.
Yeah. And so I saw they were struggling over there because the dogs weren't quite, getting where they thought they would. And I saw her trying to figure something out. So I went down and she's like, we need a smoke bomb. And I'm like, oh, I have those in the van. So I ran over and got my smoke bombs. And yeah, of course I do. It's the van. And so it was cool to kind of watch that and be able to video that as well. And when you talked about the changing problems, I had such an advantage in that way. I didn't get to hear a lot of the discussions. I would try to get some debriefings. And the one that I could hear the most was with Craig. And so that was cool that I got to hear, I think, 3 different debriefings on that one. But getting to see the marketplace, I made sure to photograph because I was the photographer there. You talked about the people that came and they're search and rescue people. These are volunteers. And so we all are there to give back and to learn and to help. And so that's why I was so excited to be able to, just do my little bit. It's going to take weeks to edit all those photos. I think it was 10,000 photos I took.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. I got a little excited.
Wow.
But it's Muscatatuck and it's amazing dogs and amazing people. Like, how can I stop myself?
And not a single photo of your own dogs.
Okay, that is just a tragedy.
That is a tragedy.
I just got so into it. But
anyway. You know what? You're going to be here. You're going to be here at the foundation with me, with a couple of other people who are going to have cameras. So we'll get them.
Well, no, meaning I didn't take pictures of my own dogs. Like probably most pictures of mine, but still. But yeah, so the whole idea of how amazing the handlers are for, coming out and spending all their money and, supporting this thing that they love and that they're trying to learn. And then all of the trainers, coming in and stepping up and being mentors for them. And I'm so impressed how everyone worked together. And then you said something about the instructors and what makes them so great. And something else that I wanted to point out is the instructors were all very open. I was really impressed that no one had some ego or a chip on their shoulder. They were all approachable. They all were there. I mean, like we even had a play session at the end and there's a storm coming and we're out there soaked in the rain, like little kids.
We're like,
probably
not too close.
Okay. How far away was that lightning strike?
Like that was at least 2 seconds from the thunder. This is totally safe. Yes.
Sure.
We're adults here. Let's go stand under the tree. No, I'm kidding.
We did not do that.
We didn't do that. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, just the fact that everyone was so dedicated to each other and to helping each other out. It was above and beyond. It wasn't just, and already, I mean, I guess you didn't even say like what the plan we got up. By 7:00, it's breakfast. 8:00, you get your brief for the day. At 8:30, you're at your first station. At, was it 11:30?
11:30, you went to lunch.
Yeah, you go to lunch and then you're back out in your station at 12:30. And then you're out there until, was it 4 or 4:30?
I believe we did one for back at your station at 1 because that allowed the instructors. So keep in mind, the instructors routinely got up at 6:00 so they could get their training aids issued to them so they could go set their problems.
Not even get up at 6. They were at their stations at 6, setting them up already.
Setting them up. So they might come back and have breakfast and then go back to their stations because they may have made an appointment with somebody outside of the rotation to help run their dog, maybe another instructor. I know, Crystal, you did that one morning. And then they trained people all morning. And then they either then went to assigned stations because we kind of figured out what stations the instructors would go work every day. And we got box lunches for those instructors. So now you're standing outside all day long and you get a box lunch that's like lukewarm and with soggy vegetables. And so then from 1 to 4:30, they'd run more students. And then at 4:30, because nobody ever ended at 4:30 except for on the last day when everybody was really tired. 5:30 is dinner. And then we would do 5:30 to 6:30 is dinner and we would do a night class.
A lecture. Yeah.
So Robin's the first featured lecture. Yeah. And that was awesome. And then Craig's the next one.
Oh, he blew my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The science that's involved. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah.
But even the openness, if I go back to that, there were things that I told him it tickled my brain. and so we had a conversation with that as we're like locked in a hospital in a storm and the power is out. And he's just so open to the conversation.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciated that about all the instructors. Everybody was so open to dialogue, and then coming back at the round table on the last day and furthering those conversations and allowing us to ask questions. And it was a really powerful thing to see the vulnerability and the openness of the instructors and really seeing their humanity as well.
And then after the lecture, everybody would go over to your van, which was called the murder van.
The murder van. Cindy is actually her name.
I mean, but come on. If anyone says
because-
murder van, everybody can see it in their brain. It's
Well,
the
yeah,
white
because
healing
it's
paint
big.
Chevy van, 1-ton Chevy van. The doorknob's broken,
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, when you walk past it,
Well, then you think that the werewolves that live inside of it are going to come out and eat you.
right.
AKA checkmate.
Yes.
Exactly. So then there you are after all of this, helping people with their play and their outs and their motivation, right? So people were there until midnight.
Playing with dogs.
Midnight.
Yeah. This is after they've worked hard all day.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. These handlers and these trainers,
Yeah.
incredible. If you're not inspired after something like this, you're in the wrong thing. Like this isn't for you.
Well, and it was inspiring for me. A couple things was the whole fact that I could walk into, especially during lunch and dinner, and the instructors are seated at the tables with the students.
Yeah.
Engaged in training conversations or just chit-chatting, whichever, or all of the above. All of our instructors enjoyed having someone, because we've got students without problems. We've got students with play problems, and having someone like Crystal there, who it actually takes a burden of responsibility off of the rest of the instructors to say, you're having a play issue. You know what? Take 10 minutes at some point and go grab Crystal. And poor little Crystal's like, I'm running around biking, taking pictures.
I was having a blast. Don't even say poor me.
But,
Yeah.
I know I'm introverted, but I'm with my people there. And
Right.
so anytime
And so-
you have dog and people and they want to play, oh, you're my people. I'm no longer introverted. Let's go.
Yeah. So, Crystal's got her little pop-up lights, and she puts those up and right outside what they now call the embassy.
Yeah. We trained outside the embassy.
Right outside the embassy.
Okay, that sounds cool.
I know. She's got this little tiny training field in the dark. And the fascinating thing for me was the people who didn't have a dog that they wanted to have work stayed and watched.
Yes, they stayed.
And we're talking till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on, or midnight. On how to play with the dog. And then Sunday afternoon, we sent everybody home with a sack lunch, and I drove by and waved at Crystal.
Oh, I'm sorry I didn't see you.
That's
sorry.
okay. You were busy playing with people.
I think she was playing with my dog.
Yeah.
I might have been playing with Brava at that time.
Right.
She was
Who I
playing with
love.
Brava. She was playing with
And
Brava.
how late did you stay on Sunday? What, 3 or 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I think it was like 3:30.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
I was like, I'll stay until you guys are done. Like, we'll just play until.
So every time, every session with Crystal, the people, the number of people grew.
It did. It was fascinating.
It just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!" And she like,
We had fun. We had
So-
lots of fun.
yeah. So there's that last evening, right? Craig Schultz is sitting there, right in the chair watching.
And having, Joe Huxell and Dina from Washington State, they were another set of our instructors, right?
I adore
Yeah.
them so
Yes,
much.
they
I
were
can't
fabulous.
even begin to say how much I adore them. They helped me so much.
Sitting and watching, because as instructors, and I'm sitting and watching and passing out
Yeah.
t-shirts. And I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
because the nuances on how to read a dog to get them to play is, not something any volunteer search and rescue handler ever gets taught.
Yeah.
What I love about Joe and Dina too is we all speak the same language because we come from this similar school. Just like going through some of the FNZ classes, and it's just a really similar kind of terminology and words we use. And so it was really cool having them there as kind of to bounce ideas off of. Because I lump some things together and I don't quite use I'm just like, do the thing. So I don't explain necessarily what I'm thinking or what I'm doing. And I just try to make it as simple as I can for the dog and the handler to have success in the moment, to kind of show that, okay, the success you just felt, now, if you go do this little bit of foundation stuff, you will like reap the benefits of this for the rest of the dog's life. And so it's kind of cool to have them there, knowing that we do think of things very similarly, and they could give me feedback, but they didn't yet. So I'm still waiting on that. They're like, that was great. I'm like, no, I need more.
Well, and I met Jo several years ago. She's in the FEMA system. So we met at some FEMA stuff, right? And then we went through a seminar as students together. And we were talking about how we start our dogs. And it turns out her and I train a lot the same way.
Oh, wow.
And I know she went through the Scandinavian Working Dog Institute Master Trainer program the year before I did.
Oh,
and
cool.
Right. So we're kind of on that same wavelength on, progression plans. And, that was one of the things that was really fascinating for me, is to listen to the entire panel of instructors talk about don't lump your behaviors.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do stuff, make sure that you're slicing them out into, thinner and thinner slices to make sure that it's clear for their dog. And, that's one of the big things I got out of the Scandinavian Working Dog Institute was progression plans, training plans, highly, highly important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the concept of lumping there, you can do the same thing in play. You really need to slice it down and work with what the dog feels comfortable doing. And it's not just about the selection of the toy, which is always fun, because my van kind of just, I almost said a different word that would have been kind of colorful.
It explodes.
It explodes. Thank you.
but it does. So everybody can picture this. It's like a toy chest, right? So Crystal comes out of her van. She's got like this, it's actually bigger than a tall kitchen garbage can.
It's a big recycling bin.
It's a big recycling bin. That's exactly what it is.
Just dumps it upside down, and it's every toy you could think of. And she kind of prefaced the discussion with, well, these are toys, and you can get these toys from, flyball conference, flyball.
Oh, the flyball toys are phenomenal.
They're always the best. And I learned that from my good friend Susan Cleveland, because she's flyball, and she's like, always go to flyball tournaments, and then that's where the toys are. Absolutely.
And then your impersonation, nobody got this in video, but it was your impersonation of the fur balls and your dog discovering and ripping apart that fur ball to get you a little bag of treats that you stuffed in there, that everybody was like, did anybody get that on video? I'm like, no, of course not.
Ooh, can you redo that for some unknown reason at the functional obedience and play class you're doing in 3 weeks?
Can you video it?
I might be standing in the back. Don't mind me.
I'll make sure it's when you're off at bomb dog training.
Oh my gosh.
So the van explodes with toys. And then basically she has people come over. Now, mind you, nobody's actually paid for this, right? This is not even a part of the syllabus.
It was so not scheduled.
Yeah.
When people said they'd play with me, I was like, yay, I can play with your dog. Let's go.
It was like a perk, right? This was like this incredible gift that Crystal gave. So her van explodes with colorful toys of every shape, size, texture, everything, right? Everything from, a bite sleeve to a fur ball to a little squeaky chuck it, whatever.
With rabbit fur and fleece.
Yeah, everything. So then she would have the handler go over with the dog and participate with the shopping to try to see
what the dog wanted.
what that dog liked, because a lot of times you might assume what your dog likes. And like, I'm going to actually quote Craig Schultz on this one, because he was talking about how, you think your big tough Malinois is going to like this big tug, and he likes squeaky turtle.
I love that.
Yeah, right. So this is kind of like letting the dog figure out why I like squeaky turtle, right? So it was just this really, really cool thing. And you would see like the dogs would be like, no, I like that. No, I really like that thing over there. And then, and then Crystal would just start like playing with the dog, and then bringing the handler into it. So you started to see, how can you interact with your dog this way? And I have to say, your teaching of the out, you had several dogs there that really had some out issues. The dog was like getting it. It was just really cool to watch. So I was just sitting there like, wow.
It's fun.
Thanks, friend. The thing that I find the most fascinating, and I see you do this with people, is talking about the suicidal bunny.
Yeah.
And I didn't come up with that. That's been like from lots of different trainers.
Right. I know you didn't come up with it, but
we
do this. We do this, right?
You mime it.
Right. And so, okay, please explain the suicidal bunny.
Well, I always, talk about, I like to watch dogs play together if that's at all possible, because you really get to see what that dog enjoys. But something I've never seen a dog enjoy is a rabbit or a bunny or whatever, just attack them and jump in their mouth. I've just never seen that be something that a predator likes, where it's just like, oh, here's my thing. And for the most part, if that happens, most of them kind of throw their head back like, get that thing out of my mouth. It's stupid. It's crazy. Like, that's not what's supposed to happen here. So I just try to remind the handlers when they're playing that they need to make it fun for the dog to chase and to strike, and not just shove it in their face. Because it's like, oh, here's the toy, take it. And it's like, oh, okay, we could try something else.
You see that a lot. People say, you must play with this toy now. And they shove the toy at the dog, like, tug this now, right?
And the dog's head like snaps back and its neck goes back. And I'm like, whoa.
What in the world do you want me to do with that? But like, you kind of like put that in a way of like, well, would a rabbit ever jump into a dog's mouth? And I'm like, well, probably not, unless it was like,
something really wrong with it.
Like rabbit or something, right? So
the rabbit.
And, then you actually showed the people how, if you made the toy have, I think you called it a heartbeat. Yeah,
I learned that from Mike Suttle. That was a real helpful one.
You give it a little bit of a heartbeat, and the dog's like, "Arr," right?
What do they like?
Arr, arr.
Well, and I'm watching the two lab girls. Everybody's like, oh my God, labs have a heart, soft mouth, blah, 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 blah. And wouldn't you know, I have a fantastic flyball toy that is fuzzy on the end, like a bunny. And on the inside is a bungee cord.
Ooh.
And so it keeps constant pressure on the bunny that's in their mouth, so they don't let go.
Oh, wow.
Because if they let go, it will fly out of their mouth. So there's always that constant little pressure. It actually makes playing with them much easier, because I can still give it a little, just all I have to do is give it little tiny tugs, that little heartbeat, but that constant pressure, they're like, if I let it go, it's going to get away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's been fascinating. The other thing is, when I've been working with Crystal, because, I have an out problem with Nico, big shocker. And to figure out.
You could also just say Nico has a lot of in, and then it doesn't sound so bad.
Okay, he has a lot of in.
A lot of in.
Right. Not a whole lot of out.
My dog has a lot of in.
Out.
Yes.
He's an innie, not an outie.
Yes, exactly. And how to present and play with the tug to really make him, one, out the toy, right? And the arousal levels that go along with outing a toy and all that sort of stuff. But to where and how to hold and how to move once he's out of the toy for the strike to get the toy back. because, I'm a sissy. I admit it. There is a reason I like labs because when my Malinois,
Big teeth.
he has very big teeth. And,
really
he has
big teeth.
fantastic aim. He absolutely does. But, like any dog, they occasionally miss.
Yeah.
That really hurts. And I don't do so good at the don't show pain. Crystal's ability to not show pain.
Yeah. She's like, well, they might bite you. And then she was just like, it's
fine. And I'm like,
fine.
What?
I'm sitting there going,
ouch.
I've played tug with my little Labrador, right? And I've like come away bloody and I'm like, ooh, that hurt. I just, yeah.
Yeah. I remember Crystal. Well, if he accidentally nails you, just don't react.
I wish you could have seen Robin's face.
Actually, she told me that with one of the puppies. And I'm like,
oh,
yeah. And I'm like, I have to not react and not flinch when the puppy bites me.
Or
are
cry
you
or scream out,
crazy?
Yes, I know. I totally, I feel you on that one. I really do.
Yeah.
And speaking of puppies, that was also a perk for me, right? By the way, was getting to see you train your puppies.
Oh, yeah. Well, because, when you're stuck at the base of operations, you can't do much. So I got the puppies out and trained the puppies.
It was cool. It was really cool. It was just really cool to see, see them work and, they were just,
it's amazing to me. I got them out in the middle of someplace they'd never been and asked them to do exterior searches off leash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they worked quite well. And it was funny because then we sat through Craig's whole talk where he talked about speed drills.
Yep.
And I, that night, made the decision that, in their search and their career, now is the time for me to spend some quality time with speed drills with them.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they have the odor recognition. They will hunt for it. Now it's truly generalizing that final response using speed drills.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, making it shiny and pretty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really liked how we each had different roles, and I liked the different perspectives that we could bring to it. I wish we could have spent more time together. I felt that with everybody, though. I was like, I wanted to spend more time with everybody. It's all of a sudden, we barely got any sleep, and still, it was like it just didn't even get to. You'd get to eat for a second out of a box and find somebody to talk to, and then it was, it was just so fast. But I really appreciated, Robin.
Well, it was military food, so
yeah. But I really appreciated, Robin, that you were able to delegate, which another D for you, and the organization that you brought to everything. That even when unexpected things happen, then you were able to step in and be able to help out, and it was fun getting to see you as an instructor there too. But I was really, really proud of you for being able to step back and delegate and bring all of these people together and seeing the connections that so many people had. And I mean, like I came back and told you I think, was it Saturday night? I was like, 4 people cried today. And then your face was like, whoa, they're crying. Like, yeah, they're so happy because such wonderful things happened where they felt supported and they felt cared for. And it was cool. I think that all 3 of us got to see that from different angles, from our different things. So Stacy is our support system there that was helping everybody with any questions and checking in and, always being at the base, which wasn't always the easiest really, because, there's no internet and you're just kind of waiting and you just got to be there.
Yeah. There wasn't any cell phone reception either. Well, what was nice is, Robin, she's like, well, hey, I have stuff to do, so I'll do this now. And
you go train.
Kayla and I we could go either train or watch teams or whatever. It was the fact that I could actually train my dogs while I was there was just, that was huge, because these are types of search areas that we just don't have access to ever. And
don't worry, neither do we.
Yeah, this is a once a year thing.
Yeah, this is a once a year thing.
Yeah, well, either way, it was just it was an honor, and
so you don't have subway stations and wrecked.
It was we went down the subway, right? So there was, it did not look like a lot from the surface.
It's just a little thing where it's a set of stairs.
It just looked like a set of stairs. You go down this set of stairs. Now, this is how amazing this was. They have replicated the type of airflow that you will see in a subway. So there's a real platform, and then it drops off like for real. There's also kind of the manhole type subway type access points like on the platform. And you have this airflow that's going up these stairs, and it has a very kind of New York City kind of vibe to it. And you go down there and they have a train, like a train there, right? Just
An actual subway train. Yeah.
yeah, like 3 cars or whatever. And and the doors were open. And it was the coolest thing. And the airflow was amazing. And I have to tell you, like, we brought our dogs down there. We were able to work our dogs. And I am so proud of my dogs. Like, seriously, they went down there and they worked like right off the bat. I mean, I would expect that of them, but at the same time, it was just really nice to see. Anyway, it was an honor. It was an honor. And we did some really cool stuff. So.
And it's one of those things, I didn't get a chance to take the puppies down there. The puppies actually had, because we have their barracks on campus. And my puppies, well, one, they had these like giant livestock fans because we had to get air movement in the instructor barracks. And so it's this constant hum underneath, but you walk up the slick, your high school floors for your hallways, right?
Yeah.
That's what the floors were in the barracks. And the puppies were like,
but great exposure.
Great exposure. And I realized as we were going through there, I'm like, they're 7.5 months old.
Yeah.
I was like, they're kind of spooky. And I'm like, fear period.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a great opportunity for me to get them to all of this exposure stuff. Probably, I think at the beginning of a fear period.
Yeah, well, they really coped with it really well. Like, they did not seem, put off by it.
The fact that they were working with live fire in the background, I was kind of excited.
I never heard any of the live fire.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. If you're over in the marketplace, like they had the Afghan marketplace and they had like a fake embassy behind that.
What was that? With the Afghan marketplace, was that the white buildings or the brown ones?
It was off right there by the mess hall.
The brown ones. They were like long aisleway. Those were the coolest areas.
Oh, and then there's groundhogs that live underneath them, and they're running back and forth during the search areas. And oh my gosh,
it is
or muskrats or something.
Yeah, I think they were scary.
Yeah,
they were big.
Yeah, and
I think they're rodents of unusual size.
Oh, and Sheba was retrieving shell casings. Here, Mom, I found one for you. Thank you.
What a sweetie.
Yeah,
when the FedEx truck came through, or no, it was U-Haul. When the U-Haul truck came through, and you're only supposed to drive 10 miles an hour, and he comes barreling through, and I'm like, oh, dude, you need to slow down. And then all of a sudden, people were like in guns chasing him. Like, oh, okay, that's part of the
scenario. Never mind.
I'm like kind of waving my arm, like, slow down, you're going to get kicked off.
Right. Well, and that was actually part of the briefing. Because you never know who's out training. We have dogs running around loose. And so we're very, the military is like, if you drive over 10 miles an hour and I catch you, we're kicking you off. And I purposely told my people, I'm like, if you drive over 10 miles an hour, you get kicked off base. I am not advocating for you.
Yep.
Too bad.
Yep. Yeah.
So
such an amazing experience.
And the fact that, Lisa Higgins and Greg Cole and T-Mac and just all these amazing people were there. I'm still, my brain is melting, and the professionalism that everyone shared, it was so great. Thank you, Robin. I really appreciate you for putting all of this together. And it says a lot that all of these amazing instructors from all over the country and all of the assistant instructors that were there volunteering and helping, like, they need such a huge round of applause for what they did. And here's what really, to toot your horn, people wouldn't do that if it wasn't because of you. Like, all of those people wouldn't come together, but you bring together a special bond and environment and support. And so that's something that was really evident in everything, the way you set it up, the way that all of these amazing trainers all came together because of you. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. There was a lot of sleepless nights about making sure that all of the widgets, and, I would get phone calls that, it was not my first slate of instructors, just because life happens, right? And so when I start thinking about instructors that I want to have come, I have a cadre of instructors that I have to pull from, because my first slate may say no. And it's not because they don't want to come. It's because, they might have like real life stuff happen. Like they got to go to court, or they got to go present at a different conference or something.
Because I know at first you had Brad set up.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't because, but everybody else
had a search that he was going on that they scheduled. So I appreciate that. It's, as the owner of a small business, we lost 4 people to COVID the day before the seminar. And when I mean lost people, they couldn't come because they were positive for COVID, like they didn't die.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
I should clarify that one. And so, that's kind of some of the interesting stuff that happens at a seminar. And oh my gosh, you just kind of really have to, some of it's like, you just got to let it go, because it'll all work itself out.
Yeah.
And hire a caterer. Swear to God, hire a caterer.
Actually, it was kind of, that military food was interestingly satisfying.
We were so hungry and so hot and and running. You just got to run.
Well, and somebody made the observation that after, because the Indiana Department of Corrections was actually training with their prison dogs on site.
Oh, yeah, right.
And, the food got considerably better after they left.
It did, actually.
The ice cream social made me really happy.
Oh, my God.
I thought the beef stroganoff was actually really good.
I missed that night.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, you did. Yeah, that was kind of my fault. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I had Atkins bars that night and a Monster.
So something that really impressed upon me that was just so special was the dedication. It was so clear from everyone there. And that is just really amazing to see. And keep in mind, this is not my lane, right? I'm not a search and rescue handler, but I huge respect, by the way, huge respect. It was really wonderful just to see all of this and see the dedication from both the instructors and the students. And see how it really was a community. And honestly, I just want to, thank you for including both me and Kayla and allowing us to be a part of that this weekend. So thank you for that.
I will say, my big takeaway, besides the fact that, oh my God, we're doing it next year, is
yay.
Yay. Learned a whole lot of stuff, is the fact that it takes a village. It takes a village to train a detection dog team, because you have different trainers that click with different people, and different dogs work different ways. And having the ability, like to even have Crystal all of a sudden step in, I could actually almost feel a sigh of relief from my instructors that we don't have to address that. We have somebody here who can do it and address play and address outs and all that sort of stuff. And so I think that's one of the things that I love, this little collaborative that we've got going on, is the fact that it does take a village.
Yeah.
And find your support structure and your tribe. And it's highly important to support you on your journey.
And I go back to what you said earlier about, picking your trainer. What I love too is that you brought trainers from all over the country. And so now people have a knowledge of how these instructors teach and how they connect and what they know. And so now they can even go back home and they know who to go to. And it's kind of like I dumped all the toys out of the van for the dogs to go shopping, to save you some money from having to go to Amazon and Redline and all these places to go and try to find if you like these toys. You can do it all at once. And it's kind of the same thing. It's almost like the Disneyland of instructors. So you get to bring them from everywhere and see who the best is already, because only the best are going to come train with you. And you just get it all in one place. It was so great.
And each instructor has kind of their bailiwick, right? And it's okay. You don't have to be great at everything. You can just do your thing.
Yep.
So I thank both of you for coming and helping out, because it's those little tiny finishing touches that you put on a seminar that make people go, wow, which having both of you there to support the seminar was absolutely lovely. Yay.
Can't wait to do it again. It's going to be great.
It'd be fun.
So, it hadn't been 24, it's been 24 hours, I guess. And I'm already like, okay, so next year. and let's do this and let's do that. And oh my gosh, it's going to be even bigger and better.
Let me get the survey set out first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about getting through all the editing of the photos yet. It's going to be weeks. So thank you, friends. And let's plan some more.
Oh yeah, we'll plan some more. Make sure to check out the website, sign up for the freebies, keep in touch with us, and we hope to train with all of you soon.
Because we have so many things happening at your farm coming up, even just in the next few weeks, even. So, oh my gosh, it's going to be crazy.
Yes, we do. And the next 4 weeks are seminars, and then I've got a couple coming up. So
then we have a distraction camp.
We might be a little frazzled with
camp.
We've got podcasts.
Right. Inspire for women of bite sports. That's coming up in about 3 weeks. Crystal's class is now full. We're good there. We've got distraction camp the first week of August, and Stacy and I were spending some quality time. Oh my gosh, you guys, that's going to be so fun.
It is going to be epic.
So yeah,
the best,
super fun. So
yeah, and you get to experience Crystal with her bag of toys again. So.
Yes, and Crystal will be doing one-on-ones during that for people who want to do play sessions and things of night like that. So check out the Canine Census website. There's a link to it from the Canine Detection Collaborative website, and make sure to sign up for the freebies.
And Stacy, what do you have coming up?
Oh, I have a summit trial, so I'm kind of focused on that.
Well, you have classes opening.
To that, we say good luck.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's all good stuff. I'm thinking about the, classes coming up, and, FNZ Dog Sports Academy, and, webinars, and I can't wait for that distraction camp. Like really.
I know.
Really.
Well, and I'm excited because Crystal gets out of school from all of her day job, and then she's coming
June 3rd. It's happening June 3rd.
Coming up, and we're going to play with donkeys and play with dogs and do.
Oh, we are so training donkeys this summer. It's happening.
Okay. Well, and because the girls are about a year, so Grace it'll be awesome. All right. Yes. Thanks, everybody. Check out the website, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Canine Detection Collaborative.
We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9 detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.